Hi. I'd like to talk a bit about respect for authority and resisting haughtiness in young men's endeavor to be masculine. Okay. And this message is especially to Christian young men, especially to Christian young men, right? Because I'm going to read the Bible, and of course, you can relate to that. You're more inclined to hear it. But it is for all of us because the message remains the same. Uh, Now, for young men, you are paying attention to different men in the manosphere who you admire, whom you're looking up to, who you seek to learn from. Certain individuals you want to be like, you want to imitate, right? Because when you look at them, you say, ah, yeah, I want to be more of a man and exude. I want to be masculine. And you look at some individuals and you believe that is they exude that masculinity. However, some men in the manosphere no doubt exude masculinity. However, sometimes it can confuse younger men into thinking that some of the undesirable traits that they're behaving, or let me see. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not good with words. Okay, let's put it this way: you can be masculine but still speak in a way which is unpleasant. Okay, you can also be masculine and you can speak in a way which is respectable. All right, for example, all right, the most masculine or invaluable man of high value is Jesus Christ. He is the what is it? He's the ideal man. Okay, now some people when they hear that they think of Jesus as being some feminine guy because of the way they he's portrayed in sometimes movies, and paintings. No, Jesus was the perfect balance of what a man is supposed to be. He was not a wimp, although he was meek and humble. He was not a coward, although he respected authority. He spoke boldly, he spoke the truth boldly, but he was not boisterous and haughty or a fool, in the things he said, in the way he said the things he said. So I'm still trying to search for that balance. Sometimes we don't know what it looks like. I know it a lot more, and I can I see it exuded in some men. All right, for example, I just made a video the other day about Patrick Ben David, I think his name is. Okay, his channel is Valuetainment. Okay, go watch him. I really admire him. If you watch him, you cannot deny his masculinity. He's very composed though. He gets his points across. He can debate with you. He doesn't appear to be haughty. He's a good listener, but he is a strong man and exudes masculinity. He's very successful. I think he's worth maybe 200 million. I believe he's also a Christian too as well. He's married. All right, so he's a what you would say a high value man in every sense of the word. I would say. All right. Now, of course, Jesus Christ would top that, but if you want to get a sense of an individual who is masculine, who is bold in his speech, bold in the things he talks about, and yet he's balanced and he's not haughty and boisterous. Okay, as opposed to some individuals are looking up to Andrew Tate. Okay, now some of the things he says, of course, he's speaking truths. Okay, I'm not disputing any truth that he's spoken. Okay, but the way he comes across is very boisterous and haughty, and I believe he's gotten himself into, or let's put it this way, some of the trouble that he's gotten himself into, or some of the treatment that he's receiving now is most likely due to his words, the way he spoke in the past against those authorities that are now holding him. He spoke against the very authorities who are now holding him. Because his words, whether or not he said them in some, I don't know, some kind of sketch or whatever, wherever he said it in, he did say the things that he said. In many videos, he's said different things and exuded a certain type of kind of attitude. Okay, think about that. Are you able to decipher the true things he says and separate that from a man who is has an attitude which you say, well, okay, he's gone a bit far there. I don't want to really imitate that part. All right, for example, Big John. I just watched a video that Hammerhead made about the legends. Okay, Big John. Now, if you go, just so you won't believe I'm a hypocrite, I'm going to explain myself. When he first posted that video, I clicked onto it and began to watch it, and I commented let me say, I only watched a few minutes of it at first, and I quickly commented. I said, I forgot what I said exactly, but I said it was refreshing to see Big John. I hadn't heard anything from him in a while. Okay, because Big John, he exudes masculinity. Okay, and confidence. He's bold in the things that he says. All right, but before I watched the whole thing, and as I progressed watching it, it just seemed like John was a bit over the top to me, where it seemed because I hadn't watched him in a while, and it seemed like he had progressed to. Okay, the video contained a lot of just cursing, boldness, or what I would consider would be kind of unwise speech. The way he's talking. Okay, you can be confident, but it's like, okay, well, why is that necessary to say? Why invite trouble? Why taunt, the enemy unnecessarily? Because if the enemy does get a hold of you, especially if they have authority over you, then those words are going to come back to bite you. But what I'm trying to say is, you can definitely speak the truth, be bold, not a coward, but also be wise in the way you speak. Respect authority. Well, I mean, you don't have to. That's up to you. But there is order. There has to be order, and sometimes the authorities that are over you, of course, are corrupt. We already know these things. But every authority, or every individual in authority over you, is not corrupt. I'm not saying that. But we know that there's injustice in some of those systems in authority. There's injustice, and they're willing to do unjust things. Okay, and they're especially willing to do unjust things to individuals who disrespect them. Okay, think about that. Now, what I want to do is, I'm going to read this part in Jude, because it's talking about individuals who have creeped into the church who do not respect authority. Okay, among other things. They even speak against uh, things they don't understand and speak against the glorious ones. Okay, now it's talking about uh, the angels that these individuals speak about. You probably encountered it when you've attended some churches and you have some pastors and people in there talking about they're gonna walk on the devil tonight, or they're gonna do this to the devil, and they speak very disrespectfully against Satan. Okay, now you might say, well, why not? What's wrong with that? Okay, well, you have to understand Satan is a very majestic being of high order. Although he's evil, he's still in heavenly places, and he is very powerful. And we would have no chance against him unless being protected by God. Absolutely no chance. We're no match for him at all. So, in speaking so boldly, what if God allows Satan? What if he lets Satan loose on you to test you? Did you speak so boldly, you're going to jump on his neck? What if God allows him to test you like he did with Job? No, but not for the same reason. Job wasn't jumping around being boisterous. But just think about what Satan is able to do. But I'm going to read Jude 1 to you. But before I read that, I want you to think about that scripture where it says, be cautious as serpents, yet innocent as doves, or be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Now, if you read back in Genesis, it says that the serpent was more, it says use the word cautious or actually wise. The word, it says he was more cautious than any other beast of the field. Now, the serpent actually in Genesis is not a snake. Okay, the serpent is Satan, the devil. Okay, and that's identified in Revelation. Okay, it says that he's the original serpent, the one deceiving the whole inhabited earth. And if you read in Ezekiel chapter 28, it speaks about the anointed cherub who covers. He was full of wisdom, perfect in beauty. Okay, so Satan, the serpent, was full of wisdom. So he's very wise. He's still very wise, but he uses his wisdom in a corrupt way. It's like the Bible says, explains he corrupted his wisdom because of his beauty, because of his brilliance. You see? So originally he was full of wisdom, and that, of course, wisdom comes from God. Right. So so I just want to say that. So when I read this scripture here, you're going to understand things. Okay, regarding it's going to tell you to be wise. Now, how do you be wise? Do you try to be wise like Satan because he's wise, but his wisdom is corrupt? He uses his wisdom in a corrupt way. No, he Satan originally got his wisdom from God. Okay, so you're going to get your wisdom from God. Attach yourself to Jesus Christ. Okay, in whom all the depths of wisdom dwells. So that is how you can be wise. Okay, when you imitate him. And then you notice men in the physical realm who operate that way, as opposed to other individuals who operate in a type of way in rejection of authority and don't use caution when their words, okay, in the way they speak. Now let me read this so you can understand what I'm saying. Okay, I mean more so. I know you understand. Hopefully, all right. Now let me read. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but I'm going to read most of it. Okay, now it says, Jude, a brother of Jesus Christ and brother of James, bondservant of Jesus Christ and brother of James, to those who are called, sanctified by God the Father, and preserved in Jesus Christ, mercy, peace, and love be multiplied to you. Okay, then that applies to you. Now, beloved, while I was very diligent to write to you concerning our common salvation, oh, I'm sorry, let me make this thing bigger. Yeah. While I was very diligent to write to you concerning our common salvation, I found it necessary to write to you, exhorting you to contend earnestly for the faith which was once for all delivered to the saints. Why? Okay, for certain men have crept in unnoticed. Okay, now also apply this to many of the religious leaders, these pastors. Okay, this is what it's talking about. Individuals who have crept into the church. Now think about these individuals, some of these televangelists who you see on television and the way they speak, so bold, prance around on the stage as if there's something, and they be sent and they talk about these different things. All right. For certain men have crept in unnoticed, who long ago were marked out for this condemnation. Ungodly men who turn the grace of our God into lewdness and deny the only Lord God and our Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, so these individuals are some of these are pastors. They're false teachers, actually, though. Okay, they're not believers. Okay, not saying they don't believe in God, but they're unbelievers, as in not trusting in God. They trust in themselves and in other things. All right, but I want to remind you. Now, this is the part I want you to listen to, especially from verse 8 down here. Especially listen to this part down here, okay? But let's hear this because this is very good too here. It says, "But I want to remind you, though you once knew this, that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed those who did not believe." Okay, meaning they didn't trust in him. Not that they didn't believe he existed. They knew he existed, but they refused to trust in him and be obedient to him. Okay, and the angels who did not keep their proper domain, but left their own abode, he has reserved in everlasting change under darkness for the judgment of the great day, as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them in a similar manner to these. Okay, now what did Sodom and Gomorrah do in a similar manner as the angels? Okay, see, now some people refuse to believe that the angels actually came down and married women and had children, because they don't want to believe that. But angels appear all the time in the Bible as men, and they can come as men, indistinguishable, eating and drinking. That's what they did. Even God appeared as a man, along with two angels, when he came to Abraham one time, and Abraham made them food, and they ate and drank. All right. So what other things could they do? Could an angel do with a flesh body? It's his body, but it's of course it's it's different flesh than yours. It's not natural flesh, although it is a body, just like you have. Okay, think about that. All right, now a righteous angel, of course, is not going to do the things that a wicked angel would do. Okay, so these wicked angels did something. All right, I'm gonna read 6, and I'm gonna keep on going. I'm gonna reread 6. And the angels who did not keep, okay, they did not keep their proper domain. I have to say something. Okay, their proper domain was heaven. Okay, but they left their heavenly estate. Okay, because you remember Jesus Christ said the angels in heaven do not marry. Okay, and that is correct. So what did those angels have to do in order to marry those women? They left their heavenly estate, their heavenly abode. Do you see? So the angels in heaven who are in heaven and who reside in heaven do not marry. But angels who depart from there and leave that place, they did marry. Do you see? All right, so they left their abode. He has reserved in everlasting change unto darkness for the judgment of the great day, as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities around them in a similar manner to these, having given themselves over to sexual immorality. This is what the angels did that came down. Okay, it's in Genesis 6, it says that they saw that the women were beautiful, and so they came down and married women, and they involved themselves in sexual immorality. It was improper for them, those angelic beings, to do that. It's very perverted for them to have done that, right? But they gave themselves over to that sexual immorality. Okay, now it's like Sodom and Gomorrah says, gone after unnatural flesh. I'm sorry, gone after strange flesh. Strange flesh. Do you see? So those animals, those not animals. The angels had flesh, just like when you read about the account of Sodom and Gomorrah. You remember the two angels came to Sodom and Gomorrah, and they intended to get Lot out of the city, and they were going to destroy the city. But what happened the account says that the all the men of the city surrounded the house and demanded that Lot bring out those two men, which were angels, so that they could have sex with them. All right. Now, of course, these were righteous angels, and they, of course, they weren't interested in that at all. But you had some angels in the past who did engage in sexual activities with humans. Right. So the flesh is strange or different. It's not, not the same flesh as ours. Okay, is from a different place. All right. So you can see that's not only did Sodom and Gomorrah, engage in, the it's homosexuality, other things. There's other things that the Sodom and Gomorrah were declared wicked for. Okay. Among those things was going after strange flesh. Okay. As you can clearly see in the when you read the account about Lot, how they wanted to have sex with those angels. All right. Do you see? Okay, are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Now we finally get back to the subject I'm trying to tell you about. Likewise, also these dreamers, okay, talking about the men who infiltrate the church, defile the flesh, reject authority, and speak evil of dignitaries. Now, if you look, if you go to the footnote, of course, this is actually glorious ones. It's talking about the angels. The angels are glorious beings. You see, glorious ones. Um, okay, now, let me read 8 again. Okay. Likewise, also these dreamers defile the flesh, reject authority, and speak evil of glory of the glorious ones. Yet Michael, the archangel, in contending with the devil, when he disputed about the body of Moses, dared not bring against him a reviling accusation, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." Did you catch that? The angel Michael, the archangel, he's not just a regular angel, he's an archangel up in heaven. But when he was disputing with the devil over Moses' body, he dared not bring against Satan a reviling accusation. Why? Why? Satan, because of Satan's authority. Satan has great authority. Do you see? He was even above Michael the archangel. But of course, you read in what is it? Revelation. Okay, eventually Michael and his angels battle against Satan and his angels. Do you see? So Satan is a angel of very great authority, just as Michael is. Okay, but if Michael is an archangel and great authority, why would he dare not bring a reviling judgment accusation against Satan? Okay, think about the military, how that structure of authority goes, and how subordinates don't dare speak a certain way to the men above them in authority. All right, now, but it says, but these, okay, talking about the men in the church, okay, in contrast to Michael, the archangel, who is greater being than them, but these speak evil of whatever they do not know, and whatever they know naturally, like brute beasts, in these things they corrupt themselves. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain. All right, Cain was also haughty, speaking disrespectful to God or nonchalantly to God. When God asked him, "Well, where's your brother?" He said, "Well, I don't know." You lie right in God's face, and hey, and then in addition to that, he said, "Well, am I my brother's keeper?" You see, have run greedily in the error of Balaam for profit and perish in the rebellion of Korah. Okay, so and it goes on. It tells more things about these individuals. Uh, Okay, I guess I can stop reading that. I wanted to read further, but okay, I'll stop there. My main point, I just want you to recognize: be careful not to imitate individuals who are boisterous or unhinged, where they're eaten up by bitterness, is eating them up, and their anger is consuming them, where it's taking away the application of wisdom. Now, again, I'm not saying be a wimp and don't say anything, don't speak out. I'm not saying that at all, because Jesus and the apostles and some of the men you see, like I named Patrick, B. David, among other men, they're very bold. You can't say that they're wimps at all. They exude masculinity. They exude strength. They exude confidence and courage. Yet they also exude wisdom, common sense, temperament. Where actually some men exude femininity when they get so emotional where they can't control themselves. It's like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Just like if you've been in a relationship with a lady, or some ladies who have been really emotional, sometimes they say things uh, that they need to later apologize about, or they just say things that's just out of control, because due to their emotions. You see, and they can get themselves in trouble, in the things they say sometimes. It's like, well, what, whoa, calm down, calm down, calm down. Have you ever said that to a lady, to a woman you've been in a relationship with, where she was just really off the handle? So for men to do that, where they're out of control, you see, you can have passion, but still be in control and be wise in the things that you say, rather than stepping over that threshold where it becomes foolish. Like some of the things that Andrew Tate, the way he spoke sometimes, it's kind of foolish. The things you've said, that you're on video saying, you didn't respect the Romanian authority previous. You said some very shocking things, that like poking them in the eye, taunting them. You see, not only them, but probably some other things you probably said offended some other authorities. No, I'm not saying don't say things that may offend the authorities. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you could say many things, but how do you say it? Do you see? You could speak about the corruption, exposing it. All right, you can bring uh, people's attention to it, or make it known, and just state the facts. You say, hey, this is that they're doing this, that, doing that. No, or you could say the same thing, but say, you could say it in a way where you actually speaking as though you dare them to do the same thing to you, or uh, you could just speak in a condescending way where you're poking your chest out as if you are equal or greater than they are. Do you see? And it's like, well, these individuals, okay, although you've spoken things that are true, they don't like your attitude. It's like, okay, we need to teach you a lesson. Who do you think you are? We are in command. We are in authority over you. Yeah, we're corrupt, but what can you do about it? You're a little man. You're out here, you know, exposing our corruption. Yeah, but so what? We can still take your stuff. We can manipulate our corrupt system, which you say is corrupt, and where you have there is no justice. Okay, well, true to your word, we're going to apply it to you. But this guy over here, who said the same thing about us, his attitude was different. So we're not gonna come after him. But you need to be taught a lesson. All right, so gentlemen, I hope you understand what is being said here. Okay, when God tells us certain things, it's for our benefit. It says in the Bible, pride. I think it's one of the deadly sins too, isn't it? Or pride. pride as far as being haughty, okay? Um, it says pride comes before the fall. Okay, why is that? Why is that? All right, think about it. Think about it. Then when they say, what is it? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. What do those things mean? All right, so like Jesus says, be wise as serpents. Okay, you see a lot of evil people are at least very wise in the way they're very deliberate, very adroit. What's the word I'm looking for? They use much discretion in the way they operate. Although they're evil, they're snakes, but they use their common sense. They use that wisdom in a corrupt way. Do you see? They're still wise in the way they move. You see? And that is the way we're to be, but without the corruption. So be wise as those serpents and those snakes and those, you know, corrupt men, but be innocent as doves. Right? So if you hear this message, I just want you to understand you're not hearing a message where God's telling you to be some kind of wimp, where you don't fight or you don't stand up about anything. Because a clear reading of if you pay attention to how the men in the Bible were, like Abraham, um, there's different men. Isaac, uh, they had they went to war. You know, they were masculine men. Okay, but yet they were also righteous though. They when they tried to reason with individuals, but you have to read it. You have to read it to get to know these things. Jesus, of course, too. If you read the account of Jesus, he was very strong. He wasn't some feminized man as you see in a lot of pictures and different things, and the way he's portrayed sometimes in movies. You know, his demeanor wasn't like that. He was masculine. He was a man, and he wasn't a feminine man. The apostles the apostles and different righteous ones in the Bible, they were bold, but they were just let me see. They were I'm sorry, I'm out of words now. Just read it. You see that they were bold. They weren't cowards. Okay, so I'm not telling you to be a coward who never says anything. If you're a Christian, you're one of your things that God tells us to do is to expose the works of darkness. But how do you do that? It even says in the Bible, when you correct a man or when you're speaking to individuals who don't believe the same, we let your words be seasoned with salt. You see, speak a mild way. You know, you could speak in a mild way, but speak very resolutely and boldly. You can still do that in a mild way. And the one example that just continues to pop in my head is Patrick on the valuetainment. Okay, so he doesn't have speaking. You don't have to speak in a lot of profanity. You know, where every other word is a curse word. You know, so pay attention to men like that who exude that masculinity, but composed. You know, they have self-control. They're wise as serpents, yet innocent as doves. Do you see? Imitate that. Imitate men who strive to be like Jesus, and you can see it in them. Rather than paying attention and becoming like men who don't have respect for authority. Do you see? And they can get themselves into unnecessary trouble because they fail to use wisdom. They prefer to act like fools. But we can change that because we've all acted like fools or said stupid things at times. So let's adjust our way of thinking so that we can adjust the way we behave. All right, be well. God bless.